Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be getting ready for an event, a beauty event tonight that I'm going to. It is hosted by Sarah Tan, well, co-hosted by Sarah Tan, one of the co-hosts of Los Angeles, a podcast that I have listened to every single episode since it launched. And I thought I'd do my hair and makeup with you. Get ready. I am not a makeup artist. I want to start by saying I'm not a makeup artist, but I have worked with some of the best for 2 decades, so I've picked up a couple tips and tricks. But I'm really here to talk about kind of my journey of how I became a celebrity hairdresser, a hairdresser in general, but who also works with celebrities. Sometimes I feel like celebrity hairdresser sounds so pretentious, but it is what I do. I don't work in the salon, which I would love to work in a salon, but I'm a beauty school dropout, PS, so stick around for that story, and kind of my journey into becoming a founder. And yeah, so let's get ready. I am gonna start off by doing a new face treatment. So I'm gonna put my hair up using one of my Petite power pins. This is in Midnight. It's our like vinyl black pin. And you just wiggle it in. Hair's out of the way. Bow's in place. This is my hooded eye. This is my less hooded eye. I only do the eye treatment on the hooded eye because at the end of it, they look more balanced out. Yeah, it's crazy. I can already see more lid. Whereas before I did this, it was all fully covered by the hood. She's hooded. Okay, I'm out of the rinse. I'm gonna go in with Oh Huey. I don't know how to say this. This is a product, a line that I got at a K-Beauty event that I went to with Mark, who was there with Dr. Groot, the hair care company, but they were giving these away. This is the Ohui Miracle Moisture Pink Barrier Skin Softener. When I saw the word skin softener, I was like, oh Jesus, it's very runny, it's very liquidy. I was like, count me in, I want my skin to be softened. I love this, and it's really good under makeup. The mic was in my boobs. I hope you heard that. And then I go in on top of that with the Ohui Miracle Moisture Pink Barrier Emulsion. This is a little bit thicker than the last one. It doesn't run as quick, although it looks thicker. It looks like it's still runny, but it's not. Anyway, these are the ones that I use before I put on makeup. It just gives me like, you know, such a beautiful glow and softens my skin so that makeup sits really nice under it. Over it. I'm gonna let that soak up for a second while I get my hair tools out. I'm using the GHD, oh Jesus Christ. I'm using the GHD Classic Curve. I think this is the 1-inch size. I am getting my roots colored tomorrow, roots dyed. You can see I'm very, very in need of that. And you have to go with clean hair. And I washed my hair yesterday, and I don't want to put products in, so I'm going to be doing this hairstyling with no products tonight, which is, you know, what a fun challenge. I think that I want to wear it up because I always want to wear one of my pins to beauty events, especially the gold one for like nighttime. So I'm going to do kind of like a soft wavy bang. This is the plan. We'll see what actually ends up happening. And then a little like French twist in the back with a gold power pin. So this is my way I like to do the sculpted wave look. You see the deep part on the side of my curling iron that I have now. That's the side that I'm gonna tuck behind my ears. So I'm gonna curl all of my hair towards my face on that side. So you'll see I'm gonna curl everything in the same direction. It's actually kind of an easy look because you're not really guessing where to hold the iron or, I don't know what I'm looking at. So you're just make every single one, wrap it around your finger. Sometimes they just will come out of the iron and I can put the little clip in. And sometimes I have to coil it up like I just did. Ooh, my ears get so red whenever there's heat by them. Does anyone else have that problem? So see, I just continue going, wrapping, looking around. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Yeah. It's hard when you can't see the back of your head. So I'm gonna keep wrapping. Again, looking at something, I have no idea. I think I'm watching true crime or something. All the way around, same direction, not changing that at all. And these little clips are, they're just, you can get them on Amazon. I think they're called tiny alligator clips. Tiny alligator clips. I don't think that's what they're called. There is such a thing as alligator clip, but they're just like pin curl clips, basically. Very old school tool, hairdressing tool. See, that one I think kind of came out of the iron easy, and I can just clip it up. Yeah. And look at all of those gray hairs. My God. I went the next day and I'm degrayed now, thank God. I'm finding it so hard to keep up with my gray business. And sometimes I feel like I miss the ends because I can't get my fingers close enough to that barrel of the iron. Looking around. So I just make sure the end is bent like I just did there. And this is the GHD curve, 1 inch. I really like the shape of it. Yeah, see, I missed that end, so making sure, shaky little hands. I love GHD tools, the hot tools are some of my favorites that I've had forever. The other thing is, the next clip I talked about how I was in beauty school in Northern California, and then I moved to Los Angeles, but I did drop out of beauty school, so I am a beauty school dropout. I can't even believe it, but that is, I got to, I think 1,100 hours out of 1,600 hours, and I decided I wanted to move to LA and left halfway through. Don't be proud of yourself, that little smirky smile. So I came down to LA and I just fell in love with it and I stayed. So that's basically where I missed. So when I cut to the end of this, we're going to pick up at that story. Anyway, what I loved LA, and I loved, what was I saying? Wow, I cannot talk and do my eyes at the same time. Jesus Christ. So I moved to LA, I fell in love with it, and I was doing odd jobs. I had done a little like office temping when I was back up in the Bay Area when I was younger, just to make some extra money. And I registered with a temp agency to do some odd jobs here and there. I knew I wanted to do something in beauty, and obviously in LA, you know, there's lots of opportunities for that. This is a little color corrector. Okay, so when I got here, I learned that people, hair and makeup people, have agents, which I did not know. Did you know that? I had no idea. I was emailing agencies that, you know, there was still Google then, right? This was so long ago. There was Google. I wanted to get on their assistant roster. So what you do is, or at least what you did back then, was you get on the assistant roster. So I wanted to do hair. So I emailed the agencies saying, can I assist some of the people that you represent on your hair roster? I never heard back from anybody. There were like, at the time, 10 different hair and makeup agents. I was sending them to the top ones that I knew of. I was still so like brand new at the time. I didn't really have a great understanding of how the industry worked, but I knew that was where I wanted to end up. So I sent it was like a resume of, I had only been to beauty school, so it wasn't like I had a bunch of experience doing anything really. And no one was writing me back, so I was like, oh, I think I just need to get another temp job because I need to make some money. I can't pay my bills. No one's calling me. But you know, this is a tale as old as time when you're trying to get started in an industry. You have to break through somehow. But I also needed to pay the bills, pay the rent. So I went on Craigslist. At the time, that's kind of how you found jobs. I went on Craigslist and it said there was a listing for small boutique agency looking for an office assistant. And so I sent my resume in. They called me in for an appointment. And when I got to the interview, I almost said audition. When I got to the interview, they were like, oh, our name is Magnet and we represent hair and makeup artists. And I had been trying to get on their assistant roster for a year, unsuccessfully, obviously. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm here as an office assistant, but I needed the money so bad, so I took the interview and I got hired. I ended up getting hired as their office assistant, and I worked there for 2.5 years, which is such a roundabout way to break into this business. It was not intentional. It was just coincidental that I ended up working in the office for them for as long as I did. But in retrospect, it was such an amazing learning opportunity because, you know, they repped some of the top hair and makeup people in Hollywood and in the world. And I got to work in the office. I learned how to put together a portfolio, you know, how a portfolio should flow, how, you know, the things that you need to highlight. I learned how to book travel for this kind of work. So I was there were a couple divas on the roster. And I was very patient with them, and I learned how to do their travel, and that was such a cool thing because now, as a traveling hairstylist myself, I kind of like know the back end, which is the true with the whole experience. It's like how to write a deal memo, what should be included in what should all the stipulations be, basically. And it was just such an intense and beautiful opportunity to learn about the back end of my industry in a way that I never would have any other way. So I worked in the office for 2.5 years, and I also met so many amazing artists. The hair and makeup people that they repped they were like the most amazing, talented, funny artists. And I got to, you know, get close with them over the years, and it was such a good experience learning the business of the business that I'm in. And I'm so grateful for that time. I worked for people that I'm still friends with in the office. I still know Lisa Walker. She's very close, and she's been an amazing supporter of mine and my business, Daybreak Beauty, my brand. And they repped at the time Mark Townsend, who ended up becoming my best friend. He, in the beginning, basically after 2.5 years, I realized I'm getting all these amazing jobs for these people that I want to be doing myself. I want to be out there doing hair on set and all over the world and creating and collaborating and being artistic. And I just realized that I was on the wrong side of the business. And so they were about to promote me to junior agent when I told them that I needed to follow my dream and pursue doing hair, and they couldn't have been more unbelievably supportive. They threw me a going away party. All the artists that they represented brought something to help me build my kit, which was like so nice. I still can't believe that they were just incredible and so supportive. And I ended up assisting Mark Townsend, primarily Mark Townsend. I worked for Robert Vetica and Adir Abergel and Danielle Howe and Colleen Campbell. I'm trying to think, Jamal Hamadi. I worked for a lot, the top hairdressers, and also getting to see all of these people have different aesthetics and different techniques and different ways of doing things. So to be able to Robert Vetica is and was such a old school hairdresser. He was this isn't shady, it's just he came up in a time where he probably went to beauty school and learned techniques that they weren't teaching in my beauty school. So to be able to work for him and then work for Mark was a completely different aesthetic than Adir. I got to see all these different ways of doing things. After I'd say 3.5 years of working for these people and assisting and learning how to think about outside of just, being oh, here's a bobby pin. I was also learning how to think ahead knowing, oh, I can see Mark is running to set and they calling for a touch-up, but he doesn't have his hairspray. Let me grab the hairspray, and then when he realizes he doesn't have it, he reaches back for it, and here I am with the hairspray. Or like, I know somebody likes like iced coffee. Maybe I'll get a nice, just kind of thinking, kind of like when I was younger and in high school and college, I was a waitress, and kind of having that mentality of like, how can I make this better for this person? You know, I dog sat, I house sat, I cleaned kits, I cleaned extensions. I wanted to do anything I possibly could because I couldn't do anything else. I mean, I could have, but hair was it for me. That was like where I was gonna shine. So yeah, I was an assistant for 3.5 years, and then I had on the side, you know, Mark was recommending me to some of the people he was working with when he wasn't available, and I, you know, started doing these test shoots with some young up-and-coming photographers and building up a kind of like a book, basically an assistant book of my work. So that was part of that time too. When I wasn't assisting Mark, I could do my own little job, my own little photo shoots, build up my portfolio. This was before Instagram, so it was still leather-bound books, which we would messenger to people. It was such a different time, like such a different time. So I did that for, like I said, 3.5 years. And when I had enough of a book and enough people, like because I was on set with these celebrities assisting Mark, I would start to get to know their publicist names. They would start to get to know me. So then when Mark wasn't available, he would recommend me. And that's kind of how it all started. Should I do lashes? I don't think I'm gonna do, should I? Let me see, let me try and do lashes, because it really does make such a difference. Not like anyone is staring at me, but do I not have glue? So like that's the other thing is when I was assisting in the office, I also learned about who publicists were. That way when I got on set, it wasn't like I was like a fish out of water. I started with a general idea of how things worked. You know, the studios hire the actress hires the publicist hires the hair and makeup. And then we either build a studio or or they pay for our services out of their own pocket. But basically that's how it worked. But I got to understand all of that by the years of working in the agency, then working on set, assisting these hairdressers. And then finally, in 2008, I went in to meet with Lisa and Sammer, the owners of the agency. And they signed me as an independent artist and put me on their roster as a hairdresser, not as an assistant, as a standalone hairdresser. And that's how I started in the biz. And I know I'm wiping off that lip mask, but my lips feel amazing and ready for a red lip. I probably won't be able to talk and put this on, so I'm gonna speed this up. I just wanna add a little bit of shimmer on the eye. So in 2008, I started doing my own hairstyling, and now it's 2026, so it's almost 2 decades. Well, if you count the years when I was assisting, it's over 2 decades. But I just, so grateful for the roundabout journey. Never thought that that's the route it would take. I can't believe that I've been in and around for so long, and I feel so grateful to have the clients that I work with. That, it's doing this. It is a business, but when we're in these people's spaces, it's very intimate. You're with them when they get married, or when they have kids, and the kids are on their laps when you're doing their glam, and it's very intimate. So to be able to have these clients that I have had for so long, I feel so incredibly lucky to still be here and still do it, and see people before they get married to now there's gray hair coming in, and it's just a beautiful thing to be a part of these teams for so long, these little glam families. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put on a lip real quick. So because I'm going to dinner, I'm doing this Huda Beauty lip stain. So, and then I'm gonna top it with things, but this will make it so that I can eat and it's not gonna come off and go everywhere. So hold please. Whew. Hold my breath. I don't think I'm gonna do lashes. Why won't this sit? Am I gonna do lashes? I don't have my lash glue. I'm not doing lashes. I don't have it in me. I'm gonna take my hair down. So what am I saying? Basically, just my route of how I got to the job, to have the job I have, and the way that it's taken me on so many different twists and turns to get to where I am now. I didn't even tell you about Day Rate Beauty, my brand. That is a whole other story, which I am running late, so I will not be telling you today. Yeah, I'm just, I guess there were times when I was younger where I thought, this should be happening for me by now. This should be, why am I seeing other people get to a certain point and it hasn't happened for me? What am I doing wrong? Am I on the wrong journey? Am I on the wrong path? What should I be doing? Am I in the wrong city? Am I in the wrong place? And really, this all to say is just wake up every day, go to work, do your best, and I believe that you'll end up where you're meant to be. Because there were many times in my journey where I thought, I mean, journey sounds so hoo-hoo, but where I thought I was not doing it right. I was not following the right path, or I should be doing something else, and I just stuck with it, and eventually everything worked out. I mean, we're still in the midst of working things out, but for the most part, things have worked out, you know. There's so many different markers and milestones for people's careers. Let me grab a brush. I just choked on a cucumber. I wish that was a euphemism for something else, but it's really a cucumber. And now I'm red in the face. I've lost my voice. But that really is all just to say that I believe that I ended up where I was meant to be. Everything happens for a reason, and just have faith that if this is your path, you'll get there. And there's gonna be so many peaks and valleys like there were for me. But I think the reason why I've been around so long and the reason why I've had, you know, success is because I was resilient and I was resourceful, and I just kept showing up, primarily because I can't do anything else. So this had to work for me. Let me brush out my hair. I don't know if this was helpful in any way, but it was fun to talk about. And what I learned most today is how hard it is to do your makeup and talk at the same time. Wow. Cut that behind my ear. Waves just end up like falling into each other. I'm gonna have to put a little bit of hairspray. I didn't want to use any, but that needs a little. Actually, what I'm gonna do is give it a little back comb. This needs to be my profile picture. Well, I'm gonna go throw my outfit on and I'll be right back to sign out. Oh, I'm gonna put a little, God, chaotic. My favorite red lipstick, Gucci Jane Scarlet, which is, you know, at the end of its life. And they don't make it anymore. Just adds a little bit of brightness and a little bit of ribbon, Velvet Ribbon by Lisa Eldridge. These two, actually, these three are my red lip favorites, these ones. Okay, now I'm gonna go put on my outfit. I will be right back.
All right, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Lipstick on the teeth. I'm not sure if I was making any sense. I think I'm a little bit scattered trying to get ready and tell a story. I've never done that before. But it was fun, and thank you for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, please add them below. And thank you for returning, for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Cheers.